What's up everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. Alrighty, let's talk a little bit about something that started about a month ago for me and it concluded this week. Alright, about a month ago, let's rewind a little bit. About a month ago, I had this intuitive hit to take a particular step for my business. Alright, and most of the times I naturally align with my intuition. There are, however, some moments where I feel an abnormal level of resistance within me to align with my intuition. I feel like it might be my nervous system saying, I don't think that's safe, or I don't think that's the right one. I don't think that's the perfect step for us to take at this moment in time. And what happened was I had this intuitive hit, and this was about a month ago. And I felt that abnormal level of resistance coming through within me. And what I did was, instead of resisting that resistance, instead of forcing myself to align with my intuition, I took a step back and I said, all right, well, if there is so much of resistance towards what I know to be an intuitive hit, all right, let's go about our process. Let's go through our process of elimination. What is it that you want to do at this point in time? And that's when I started trying out different steps, all right, different steps over the course of 1 month. Different steps, slowly eliminated steps that I realized after coming to the end point that no, this isn't working. So I went to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And finally, I came to the idea or the step that my intuitive hit had told me right in the beginning that this was going to be the one. And then I did that, and finally everything just aligned. Now, in the past, when I would do this, all right, when there was an intuitive hit and maybe I resisted and I went my own way, in the past, I would be very harsh on myself. I would be very, very critical. I would be like, that was an intuitive hit. How could you not, follow it? You're supposed to. Why didn't you? And I think I would be very, very critical of myself, especially when there were these moments that I didn't follow my intuition, but was ultimately led back to it. But over a lot of time thinking about what actually happened in that time I took to align to my intuition, I realized I needed that entire loop. I realized that the resistance was abnormally too much, and I needed to break through that resistance in order to smoothly align with my intuition. And how I was going about it was I was doing every other thing, every other step, just to eliminate it so that the resistance would break. And by the time I would complete the loop, by the time I would come to whatever I was getting an intuitive hit for, the resistance was low to minimal because I had wiped out the resistance. I had gotten proof for my nervous system, for my mind, that that is not going to work. That is not happening. We have to move on. We have to, slowly align with our intuition. And I don't take that time to be a waste anymore. In the past, I did. But today I don't. Today I think of that loop as well to be alignment. And let me explain. I feel, especially when my resistance has been abnormally high when it comes to aligning to my intuition, I feel that it is part of the process for me to go through other courses, other paths, break that resistance through other paths rather than forcing myself to break the resistance within me. Go through the other paths, automatically the resistance breaks. And that is how I can slowly but very steadily align with my intuition. The loop is alignment. And that is what I have understood. Today, the loop just closed this week. Literally, it is Saturday. It closed on Thursday for me. Thursday, everything just fit. The step that I had implemented, which aligned with my intuition, it all fit. Everything worked perfectly. And I was very comfortable with that decision, with that alignment, because first off, my nervous system had found proof all over for the past 1 month that there was no other option, and it was the option that I had received an intuitive hit. And it was just so calming on my end. The moment the step just clicked and it fit, I was like, that's it. That's all I needed. There was little to no resistance within me. There was a little bit of sadness, yes, because the particular step that I did get an intuitive hit about, it's slightly more difficult. It takes more time and it needs more of my energy. So I was a little bit sad about that because I was tweaking and I was trying different ways that could reduce my energy input, but also give me the return on investment that I was looking for, so on and so forth. So there were like multiple tweaks that I made along the way for the past 1 month. And finally it clicked. And I had to come to the conclusion that no, that is the only step, that is the energy investment, that is the amount of time that I need to put in, and there is no other way. That was what your intuition had originally aligned. You have broken every bit of resistance, and now you have aligned with your intuition. So I feel like sharing this with you because I know that a lot of times I also, as a spiritual worker, to my clients as well, I do say, align with your intuition, align with your intuition. And I'm pretty sure that you hear it all over the internet as well, like align with your intuition, align with your intuition. But sometimes aligning with your intuition is going down the path of resistance and breaking that resistance, or finding proof to break that resistance to finally align with your intuition. Sometimes that is part of the path. Because the way that I look at it, if I had directly just aligned with my intuition 1 month ago, just directly implemented the step that was in mind, I think that there would have been so much of frustration building within me. Like, why can't this be easier? Or why can't it be lesser energy? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And that constant frustration would have drained me. It would have drained me even more than the amount of energy that I took to find proof that my intuition was correct and that proof that I needed to break the resistance. It would have taken much more. And honestly, I feel like the why can't I do something else? Why am I doing this? All of that energy, it would have gotten to me at some point. And so sometimes I feel alignment is going on the path of resistance so that you can find enough proof to feel safe to align with your intuition, because sometimes you're not going to feel safe, and that's okay too. That does not mean there is something wrong with you. That does not mean that you are doing something wrong as well. No, absolutely not. Sometimes your nervous system, sometimes you need proof to align with your intuition, and that's okay as well, right? So this was something that, during my engineering, I did this a lot, all right, where my intuitive hit was one thing, but I kept going on the path of resistance. But by going on those paths of resistance, all right, I have solidified that lesson so well within me. Multiple lessons that I have chosen to go on the path of resistance. All right, it's so embedded in me because I chose to go on the path of resistance multiple times, not just once, not just twice, multiple times. All right, but ultimately that loop was alignment for me. Ultimately, I managed to align with my intuition. There was absolutely zero resistance, and I just naturally aligned with my intuition after going through the path of resistance and collecting my proof along the way. Of course, because it is the path of resistance, there is going to be pain, there's going to be confusion, there is going to be frustration, but that by itself is the energy necessary to break the resistance for you to find proof to align with your intuition. So sometimes you are going to align naturally, like whatever is your intuitive hit, you will feel like, okay, let's go about it. There's no resistance within you, or even if there is resistance, it's not going to overpower you. It's not going to make your journey of aligning to your intuition, it's not going to cloud it. It's not going to make it even more messy. However, there are going to be moments, and this is something that I have understood over time, there are going to be moments where you have to take the path of resistance so that you naturally align with your intuition. All right? That does not mean you are doing something wrong. It is just the loop itself is you aligning with your intuition. You just need that proof to break the resistance, and that by itself is alignment as well. All right? Another message that I wanted to say is that sometimes, our intuition whispers before we are ready to listen, and that's okay as well. When we are ready, and by that, I mean we usually go through a path to get ourselves ready. I don't think that we should hold it against ourselves. I don't think that it should be something that we look down upon ourselves for. All right, so I just closed the loop. It was Thursday, actually. Everything clicked in my business, and I was like, okay, well, there's absolutely no resistance. I completely understand. I have exhausted every other method there is out there, and I have aligned to my intuition. I knew that this was going to ultimately be the step that I take, but I needed that proof. I needed to break that resistance. Otherwise, it would have been too draining for me. Even if I aligned with my intuition at that point, it would have been too draining for me, and that would have actually been misalignment. If there is frustration, chaos, it is a very, very big sign of misalignment. And sometimes alignment is, going on the path of resistance, collecting proof so that you can naturally align with your intuition. All right. And I do want to say, like, when I was going on this path of resistance, yes, it kind of, and I was collecting proof, there was a sense of calmness within me. Like, all right, I'm trying this. Yes, the frustration does build because, it's not working out and so on and so forth. But the idea of trying different things before coming to a decision that naturally aligned with my intuition, even that actually brought me a lot of peace. So that is also one more way that you will know whether or not it is alignment. All right. So sometimes you can naturally align, and that's brilliant. That's great. Other times you may not, and that's okay too. You don't have to be harsh on yourself, or you don't have to berate yourself for wanting to choose to find proof or wanting to go on the path of resistance so that you collect proof to naturally align, because you will come back. The loop is that you will come back to your intuitive hit. You will come back to your intuitive knowing, but sometimes we need proof, and that's okay as well. All right. So I'm just looking down to see if I covered anything. If I covered everything. If I covered everything, and it looks like I did. One thing that I've written is, it's not a waste of time. I don't think that the past 1 month was a waste of time, because today I am so sure, like, I will not waver from my decision of taking this step for my business, because I have exhausted every other method down there, and there is zero confusion. There is absolute clarity in my mind, and I feel like my nervous system needed to come to this point of 100% certainty. And sometimes the situation demands it. Sometimes the lesson that you are meant to learn is, how do you loop back to your intuitive knowing, intuitive hit? All right. So sometimes alignment is not a straight path. Sometimes alignment is just not directly aligning with your intuition. Sometimes it is going on the path of resistance, collecting the proof, so that there is zero resistance when you align with your intuition. All right. So that is something that I wanted to share as a very, very profound moment. Like, I was like, ding, kind of energy when it hit me. And I didn't berate myself. Like, in the past, I would berate myself so much, guys. Like, it was horrible. I was not really very kind to myself, not very compassionate. But this time, the moment it clicked, I was like, yeah, okay, there it is. Are we okay now? Are we fine? It aligned, but is there resistance? No, there's no resistance. Are you fine? Everything's okay? That's it. That's pretty much the conversation that I had with myself. I didn't think of the 1 month as a waste of time. No, I didn't. I just thought of it as part of the process of me aligning with my intuition. All right. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that this can happen sometimes, and it is part of the process to align with your intuition. It might take a long route, but breaking the resistance, however you choose to do that, is also part of the alignment. All right. Okay. So this is where I will leave you for today. I really hope that this video helped you to understand certain moments when you resist your intuitive knowing, and not to hold it against yourself, especially during those moments, to go with the flow of what you are feeling. Yes, your intuitive hit is telling you something, but maybe you need more proof. So follow that feeling as well. That is also part of alignment, right? So don't be harsh on yourself. Sometimes you need proof, and that's okay too, right? And if you have any additional thoughts about this, definitely let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, or this video made you think a different perspective to, something that you've been doing all along, definitely do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. Alrighty, take care, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.